When I joined 6 years ago, I think we had very fertile soil to put a lot of these programs and processes in place. So there already was a very strong training and development culture. I don't think it was as structured, especially the entry-level programs were not as well structured as they are right now. I think our focus at an entry level has been to be able to make sure that the young talent that comes into the organization gets integrated culturally, and that we have a strong engagement anchor to extend their tenures. And we've made that happen pretty successfully in the last 5 to 6 years. And I think I would clearly just pin this back to a very strong coaching and mentoring program that we put into place. To start with, we didn't call it coaching and mentoring. We just called it Find the Guru Within. Because we stepped back and said, let's try and get our senior managers and senior leaders into this program by being able to dip into the collective unconscious of people in India. And the two threads that we picked from there. One is a compelling need to be a guru, especially when you're senior, when you're older, when you're more knowledgeable, you're an expert, you'd like to be recognized as that. So when you get identified as a mentor or a coach to someone, you're actually honoring him by asking him to be guru to somebody in the organization. I think it also came from a strong belief that if you scrape the surface of any good professional, there's actually a teacher sitting right inside there waiting to transfer knowledge and pass on his expertise to somebody else. You often have a joke about Indians and Indian stretchable time. So Indian standard time is often described as Indian stretchable time because the truth is that Indians have a cyclical concept of time. So they believe in rebirth and the cycle of rebirth, and therefore there isn't a terrible hurry to do or complete anything in this birth. And I think coming from there, therefore, is a compelling belief in immortality. So we positioned this program as a great opportunity to remain immortal within the organization by transferring their knowledge and coaching, grooming, training, mentoring other people and living through them inside the organization for long after they've left and retired from the organization. And I think it worked beautifully well. So we came down to the tools and techniques of coaching and mentoring much later. I think what we did right at the start is we got a buy-in philosophically into why they should participate in a program of this kind. Typically what we find is that particularly when you have large age differences, and we do have that in our organization with the average age at a senior leadership level being 52 years and the average age of the organization being 27 years. So we have people in the organization who are almost half the age or even less than half the age of those who are heads of department or leaders inside the organization. Now, what tends to happen when you have such a large age gap, particularly in the Indian context, is that either there is a complete incommunication and non-communication and indifference to the youngster because there is a huge generation gap and a communication gap, and they're not sure how they can actually connect with this group of people, or either there is a very parental, very paternal stance on how they lead young people. So I think we decided to leverage the paternal piece and actually enable knowledge transfer in a non-threatening manner. One of the things that I've always seen with coaching and mentoring is that it's often dismissed off as some mushy stuff that senior leaders are supposed to do. I've even heard of senior leaders turning around and asking why they're expected to do this because they don't have the time or the bandwidth to invest in this, or can they be compensated or paid separately for also having to train people on their own areas of expertise. So I think what we were trying to do here was to try and build this into the culture of the organization, which is the way in which we do things here is what we really wanted when we put coaching and mentoring into place as a formal mechanism. I also want to say here that there's nothing mushy about coaching and mentoring. There is a very strong business case for investing in coaching and mentoring. One, it allows you to anchor young talent. It allows you to engage people, extend tenures of young people who have great opportunities outside. It brings in great emotional connect in the job. I think it can change the environment. It can change the work culture dramatically. I think it can get young people to become very productive early in the game. It can get them to take on leadership roles and responsibilities much faster than they can otherwise. I think it's a great statement to make on the kind of leadership that's acceptable inside the organization. So to us, we say, well, the kind of leadership we expect from people is the nurturing and the engaging kind. So if you're not coaching, grooming, training, mentoring people, you're not being an SR leader. So I think it's important to be able to define that as the preferred style of leadership, particularly when you're inducting a lot of people in leadership roles from outside. You'll often find them saying, well, we don't know what leadership in your organization really means. So this is a great way of defining what leadership in your organization really means when you institutionalize a program like coaching and mentoring. We have a set of awards called the SR Starfish Awards for Coaching and Mentoring Excellence. Now, these are Chairman's Awards for the best coaching and mentoring, and we invite stories from mentees and coaches on the way in which they've been trained, coached, mentored, to be able to identify those who will be honored by the Chairman as winners of SR Starfish Awards for Coaching and Mentoring Excellence. And I think in an organization that's obsessed with EBITDA numbers and production excellence and the rest of that, it's a great statement to make when you say, well, we award and honor people for great coaching and mentoring inside the organization. So I think there is a great there is a great level of excitement to want to participate. So I think there are, and the biggest one is that any organization that's struggling with succession planning and development must institutionalize a coaching and mentoring program, because it's the most non-threatening way to enable knowledge transfer. So I think there's a huge business case to be able to invest in a strong coaching and mentoring program.